हेलो एस्पिरेंट्स, अ वेरी वार्म वेलकम ऑन द यूट्यूब चैनल ऑफ एनालिस्ट आईएएस। हमारा आज का टॉपिक डिस्कशन के लिए है फिफ्थ इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन डिजास्टर रेजिलिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर। ये इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि ये इनिशिएटिव इंडिया ने लॉन्च किया है। वील सी वाई न्यूज व्हाट इज दिस आईसीडीआरआई, इसके थीम्स क्या हैं 2023 के। आफ्टर दैट व्हाट इज कोलिशन फॉर डिजास्टर रेजिलिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, दिस हैज बीन लॉन्च्ड बाय इंडिया अलॉन्ग विद द इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस, तो इसको हम देखेंगे। Then we'll see presidency of G20 opportunity for India and what is the relation with the ICDRI और हम इसमें ऐसी क्या नई चीजें कर सकते हैं। After that we'll see our today's prelims practice question which will be based on this video. Why news? So the fifth international conference on the disaster resilient infrastructure was hosted by the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure and the theme was delivering resilient and inclusive infrastructure. What is this ICDRI? ये बेसिकली एक फ्लैगशिप प्रोग्राम है सीडीआरआई का। अब ये सीडीआरआई क्या है? सीडीआरआई इज एनुअल इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ द कोलिशन फॉर डिजास्टर रेजिलिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड इसका जो एम है दैट इज टू ब्रिंग टुगेदर पॉलिसी मेकर्स, रिसर्चर्स, प्रैक्टिशनर्स फ्रॉम ऑल अराउंड द वर्ल्ड टू स्ट्रेंथन द ग्लोबल डिस्क्लोजर ऑन डिजास्टर एंड क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. Its objective is to promote research, knowledge sharing in the fields of infrastructure risk management, standards, financing and recovery mechanisms. It was launched by India at the United Nations Climate Action Summit, New York in 2019. इसका जो secretariat है, it is based in New Delhi. 35 countries, 6 international organizations and 2 private sector organizations have joined CDRI's members. So the 35 countries which are there, they are India, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Bangladesh, China, Mongolia, Japan, Philippines. Basically all this in the video. You can pause the video, you can look closely towards it. Now, what are the 6 organizations which support it in collaboration? They are, so that is the World Bank Group, the Asian Development Bank, United Nations Development Program, United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, the Private Sector Alliance for Disaster Resilient Societies, Coalition for Climate Resilient Investment. What is the theme of the conference of the 2023? So first is delivering resilient infrastructure, inclusive and risk informed systems. Second is shaping resilient infrastructure, creating resilient infrastructure assets. Third is delivering resilient infrastructure and realizing finance and investments for infrastructure resilience. Now coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure क्या है? So the coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure ये एक इंटरनेशनल कोलिशन है ऑफ नेशनल गवर्नमेंट्स, यूनाइटेड नेशन की एजेंसीज हैं, प्रोग्राम्स हैं, मल्टीलेटरल डेवलपमेंट बैंक्स हैं, फाइनेंशियल मैकेनिज्म्स हैं, प्राइवेट सेक्टर एंड नॉलेज इंस्टीट्यूशंस एज वेल. सो इट इज अ कोलिशन program of these all. What are the initiatives of the CDRI? So there are 2 initiatives. First is the infrastructure for resilient island states. Second is the infrastructure resilient accelerated fund. So what is this resilient island state? India launched this initiative and it was a part of CDRI, and इसका जो focus है that would be on building capacity, having pilot projects especially in small islands developing states or the SIDs. The reason is कि यही islands होते हैं small which face the biggest threat from the climate change. We have already lost our thousands of islands due to this climate change, and Indian Space Agency, which is ISRO, it will also build a special data for them to provide them with timely information about cyclone होगा, coral reef monitoring होगी, coastline monitoring होगा, and that all will happen through the satellite. Now, what is this infrastructure resilient accelerated fund? So this fund is supported by United Nations Development Program UNDP and United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reductions. It is a trust fund that will be managed by the United Nations Multi-Partner Trust Fund Office, and the aim will be to help in improving the ability of infrastructure system to withstand disasters, and with a special focus on developing countries and the small island developing states. So इसका काम basically fund provide कराना है और इसका उनका identify वगैरह करना है. Now G20 and CDRI opportunity को अगर हम देखें, so this year India is also bringing all the world together through the G20 presidency, and India is going to host a presidency in Jammu and Kashmir in coming May. So it is also a controversial topic. I'll make a video on that. As the president of G20, India has already included CDRI in many working groups. The solution explored here, they will receive attention at the highest levels of the global policy making because all of the world is here. Now, this is an opportunity for the CDRI to contribute to infrastructure resilience, especially against climate risk and disasters. The deliberations at the ICDRI 2023 will provide a pathway to achieve the shared vision of a more resilient and safe world. Now let's discuss our today's prelims practice question. So our first question of today's session is, consider the following with respect to the CDRI. It is an initiative launched by India. World Bank and UNEP are its collaborating partners. You can type the answer in the comment section. They'll let you know if it's correct or not. Second question is, consider the following statements regarding Global Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. It envisions enabling measurable reduction in infrastructure losses from disasters and extreme climate events. It is launched by French government. Which of the statements given is correct? You can type the answer in the comment section. They'll let you know if it's correct or not. This was all about today's video session. Thank you. Have a nice day. Hope you learned it. Stay tuned with Analyst IAS.